I thought I had the weekend to myself, one of those private moments to dress up and relax. I hadn't yet come out to my girlfriend, so I wasn't expecting the shock when she found me dressed like I was. She had left for work that Friday morning, planning to be out of town for the extended weekend. But after her late-night flight got cancelled due to weather, she was rebooked on the first morning flight. So, she came home around 9 p.m. that Friday. I didn't think my outfit was too much, just a simple pink dress with black trim, pink nails, and my hair up in a high ponytail. The shoes were a bit bold, pink leather platforms, but I thought I looked nice. My makeup was a little heavier than usual, but overall, it wasn't over the top. At first, she seemed just shocked. But quickly, that shock turned into anger. She began shouting at me everything from our relationship to my hobby. She was so furious she was stomping, slamming things, and throwing whatever was nearby. I couldn't get a word in. Each time I tried to speak, she cut me off. "What are you doing? Let me explain. What kind of man are you? I'm still your man, Am I not good enough for you? Yes, but. Are you waiting for your boyfriend? No, Is that my nail polish you're wearing? No, Her rant went on and on, escalating with every word. Confused and overwhelmed, I just sat there, tears welling up. But when I broke down, that only made things worse. "You don't understand," I muttered. Her voice erupted. "I don't understand. You don't understand. You don't get how mad I am, how humiliating this is." With that, she stormed upstairs, slamming the bedroom door. A few minutes later, I could hear her music blasting from the stereo. It was unmistakable, her old Suzanne Vega album, the one she always played when she was upset. And then I heard her singing along. "But blood makes noise. It's a ringing in my ear. Blood makes noise. And I can't really hear you." In the thickening of fear. At that point, I knew better than to try and confront her. I stayed put, preparing for a long night on the couch. I stripped off my makeup and changed out of my dress into some old clothes I found in the laundry room. The pink dress went straight to the bottom of the laundry pile. I spent hours on the couch, listening to her music continue upstairs, Ace of Base followed by more of her angry classics. I'm not sure when I fell asleep, but when I woke up at 4 a.m., the music had finally stopped. The events of the night replayed in my mind. The whole thing seemed surreal, but the sting of it lingered. As the sun began to rise, I woke up to the quiet hum of the TV, and faintly, I could hear her talking upstairs. Not clearly, just distant mumbling that reminded me of the sound of Charlie Brown's teacher. It wasn't even 7 a.m. Who could she possibly be talking to, especially after what had happened the night before? I didn't dare go upstairs to listen or make any noise. I was already dreading the next part. It seemed inevitable. Whatever was going to happen next, whether more anger or a serious talk, it would have to happen soon. It wasn't until almost 9 a.m. when I heard the bedroom door open and the creaking of the stairs. I braced myself. I glanced toward the hallway and said softly, "Good morning." She replied, "Good morning," her tone flat, neither angry nor happy, just neutral. She turned toward the laundry room and opened the door. My stomach dropped. I hoped she wouldn't find my dress. That would reopen everything. Instead, I heard her move into the garage. I sat still, waiting. A few minutes later, she returned, shutting both doors, the one to the garage and the one to the hallway. Then, she walked into the den. I felt like I was on edge, as nervous as my grandmother would say, like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. She said 4 words. "Stand in the corner." Her voice was all business. I didn't argue or ask why, I just complied silently, feeling foolish as I faced the wall. She stepped up behind me, leaned in close, and whispered, "You don't understand." The words sent chills down my spine as she gently took my hands and pulled them behind my back. "Ziziep. Ziziep." "There," she exclaimed. I tried to move my arms, only to realize they were bound. I shifted them and saw the long white plastic ties poking out from my wrists. In a flash, I realized she had grabbed them from my electronic supplies in the garage and quickly used them as makeshift handcuffs. "Sit down," she commanded, pointing to the couch. I sat. Then, she started speaking calmly. "Last night, you said, you don't understand. Well, after I calmed down, I realized it's not me, it's you. You're the one who doesn't understand." I gulped as her voice began to rise. I didn't want to make things worse. "Do you hear me? You don't understand." I meekly nodded. "You have a choice," she said, her tone now sharp. Another quiet yes was all I could manage. "You can get up, I'll cut these off, and you can leave to check into a hotel while we figure out the breakup, who's moving out, and how to handle everything. Or," she paused. I asked, or, you can try to understand." She gave me only 30 seconds to decide. I knew I had to choose. The first option seemed immediate and final, while the second, though uncertain, didn't seem as harsh. "I'll try to understand," I said. "Good," she replied, walking toward the kitchen. She picked up the phone and dialed. A few beeps followed, and she said, "Hi. Yes, it's on. Bye." She hung up and went back upstairs, closing the bedroom door behind her. I sat on the couch, utterly confused, wondering what that phone call was about and what would happen next. I didn't have to wait long. After a few minutes of channel surfing with the remote behind my back, I heard the doorbell. She came downstairs, opened the door, and I heard an unfamiliar voice. "Hi. Oops, I forgot something. Be right back." The door closed, and she went back upstairs. She returned to the den, turned off the TV, and held up a long pink scarf. "You like pink, don't you?" she asked with a sarcastic tone. She folded the scarf a few times and tied it around my head like a blindfold. "You can come in now," she called down the hall. The distinct click of high heels echoed. "Well, looks like you've got him all ready," said the unfamiliar voice. "Yes, I think he's ready for a little ride," she responded, giggling. The voice continued, "We need a few things. Do you have a pen and paper?" She rummaged in another room, then handed over the items. "We need these household items. If you don't have them, we'll grab them on the way." Moments later, the paper was torn from a legal pad. "I've got most of these, but these three here, and here I don't have." "No problem," the voice said. "We'll stop by the drugstore on the way." The giggling continued. I could hear cabinets opening and shutting, the garage door opening and closing, and a few minutes later, she returned. "Did you find everything else?" "Yes, everything," she said. "Great. Now, find a plastic bag to put them in. We're off." She approached me and said, "Stand up." With one hand on the back of my neck and the other at the small of my back, they guided me out the back door, across the deck, and into the car. I was placed in the back seat, feeling like I was being arrested, hands restrained, head lowered to avoid hitting the roof. The stranger took the driver's seat, and my girlfriend slid into the passenger seat. With a triumphant tone, she said, "We're off." I couldn't help but wonder what was happening. Was this some sort of mind game? I settled into that thought, hoping it would ease my nerves. As a light breeze came from the car's AC, the radio switched to a rock station. After a few turns, I lost track of where we were. With the blindfold on, I tried to keep track of the route, but it didn't take long before I had no idea where we were going. I resigned myself to just waiting. Soon, I heard my girlfriend say, "Turn in here. I'll get the rest of the things." We parked, and she got out of the car. I sat quietly as the stranger kept the car in accessory mode, and we listened to the radio. It wasn't long before the passenger door opened again. "Did you get everything?" "Yep, got everything." "On to the first stop." "On to the first stop." With that, the car backed out and merged into traffic. Several miles and a few more turns later, I had completely lost track of where we were or how far we had gone from home. I heard her ask, "Is that the place?" "Yes, that's the place, she's waiting for us. It's bigger than I thought it would be." "Well, she's not usually open today, but this is a special favor." I'm sure it's going to be special for him. A wicked giggle followed, but I didn't understand the joke. My door opened, and I was ordered, time to get out. Swing your legs out first, and we'll help you stand. It was strange not having my arms to balance myself. It made me feel unsteady and awkward. I managed to get out of the car without hitting my head on the door or falling. Once outside, they guided me again, one hand at the back of my neck, the other at my back, across a short walkway and through a door. After a few steps, I felt the door close behind me. The cool air from the AC and the echoes of my surroundings confirmed we were indoors. I was led forward, then turned to the right. Stand straight. I felt something wrapped around my thighs, followed by another around my ankles. My fear began to grow. My arms were still tied behind my back, and now my thighs and ankles were bound too. I was instructed to sit slowly on the edge of a seat. It was higher than expected, and I leaned forward once I made contact. Then, the wire tie handcuffs were cut, but before I could move, I was shoved back into the chair, and my elbows were secured to the chair's arms with ace bandages. I couldn't slide forward, and I definitely couldn't slide back. I was fixed in place, unable to kick, almost as if I were immobile. "Does he look ready?" asked the shopkeeper. "Yes," the mystery woman replied. "Oh, yes," my girlfriend added. "Well, let's go talk first." I heard the distinct click of the mystery woman's heels fading away, accompanied by their muffled giggles, until they disappeared into the distance. The sound of talking and laughter filled the air, but I couldn't make out the words. I tried to lean closer, testing my restraints. They were secure. Then, I heard a door open, and the voices became clearer. "So, we agree?" "Yes. Yes." Footsteps grew closer again. "Are we ready?" I said, "Are we ready?" I realized the voice was directed at me. I guess so." "Okay, hun, this won't hurt a bit." Laughter in the background. I felt a breath near my ear, followed by a whisper, "Remember, you just don't understand." It was my girlfriend's voice. "Stay quiet, you might learn something." A chill ran down my spine. Then I heard something on wheels roll up. I felt a cape drape around my neck and fasten. That was when I realized exactly where I was. It became clear when my girlfriend removed the scarf from my head. I began to look around and saw I was in a large salon, though it was empty. I noticed my girlfriend and what I assumed was the salon owner. The mystery woman was behind me, and I caught a brief reflection of her in a mirror across the room before my girlfriend spoke. "Close your eyes." She quickly produced a pair of large rectangular bandages with a padded middle and sticky edges. She placed the first one above my eyebrows, then below my cheekbones, along my nose, and near my temple, completing a square. She did the same on the other eye. I was blind again, with just the faintest light diffusing through. "Hun, how's it feel? Is it dark in there?" The conversation continued around me, as if I wasn't even there. "Hand me that bowl. Each of you put on a pair of gloves. Hand me a pair too." The steps continued. "Let's start down the middle. Dip the brush into the bowl, just enough product to coat it, not too much. Then, using the tip of the brush, pick up a small section of hair and paint it from half an inch away from the scalp to the end. We'll do the scalp section later." I started to smell a faint chemical odor. With each lock of hair being wetted down, my head felt heavier. "Is this right? Am I doing it right?" "Yes, just keep it about half an inch away from the scalp." A few locks later, the mystery woman spoke up. "Let me try." "Sure." A new pair of hands started the same process, separating hair, pulling it with rubber gloves, and painting it with the brush. She flipped each section to the other side and repeated the process. It took nearly 20 minutes to do one side of my head. Dozens of separate steps, separate a lock, paint from top to end, flip it over, and repeat. The shop owner, who I now realized was a professional stylist, said, "Let me do the other side so we can process evenly." In her skilled hands, the other side took half the time. Once she finished, she said, "Now, We'll go back through with the pointy end of the brush to check for missed spots. She touched up a few areas. It's shake and bake time now. I felt a plastic cap, like a shower cap, placed over my head. Moments later, I felt a warm dryer blowing down on my head. The noise from the dryer made it hard to hear anything, but I caught snippets of conversation. Laughter mixed with words I couldn't make out: at home, pink, car, and then, the magic word again, understand. 20 minutes later, the dryer stopped, and the plastic cap was removed. A breathy whisper brushed my ear. So, you just don't understand. A gasp followed. Is that right? What's wrong? It's orange. Calm down, calm down. We're only halfway through. Keep it together, ladies. Bring me the portable sink from the back. Fill the reservoirs with hot and cold water, they're labeled. A few minutes later, I heard something being wheeled toward me. Okay, hun, lean back slowly. I felt the chair catch release and leaned back until my head rested in a sink. The arm restraints stretched a little as I moved. That's kind of cool, my girlfriend said. I haven't seen a portable sink before. Yes, some of the customers are older and not so mobile. It's easier and safer to bring the sink, dryers, and other equipment to them rather than having them move around. Time is money in this business. I was washed, soaped, lathered, rinsed, and as most shampoo bottles say, repeat. Okay, let's sit you back up. The chair was raised and locked into place. We'll dry it a bit. A towel was gently used to dry my hair. The stylist combed my damp hair again, making sure the part stayed down the middle. I'll be right back. I need to mix a new batch. I heard footsteps heading to the back of the shop, followed by that unmistakable whisper. So, you just don't understand. Okay, girls, ready for round 2? Yes. Okay, girls, same process, but this time, we go all the way to the scalp. Here's a fresh set of gloves for everyone. This round felt different. My hair felt heavier, the brush strokes against my scalp tickled, and soon my scalp became warm and tingly. It also took a little longer this time, maybe because the wetness of my hair made it harder to separate into locks. But the process was the same. Separate, paint from top to end, flip, repeat. As always, the stylist went over my hair, touching up parts, and then placed the shower cap back on. I waited for the dryer to start, but nothing moved. A few seconds later, my girlfriend asked the question that was on my mind. Do you need me to get the dryer? No, this round processes with just the heat from your scalp, trapped under the cap. The freshly painted half-inch will process faster than the rest, and everything will turn out fine if we time it right. How are we doing? She tapped my head. Just fine. Can you hang in there for another 20 minutes? Yes. Any questions? Well, yes. What's going on? Laughter. Well, I can't tell you everything, but are you just asking about the cap? That would be a good start. Laughter. Do you really want to know, or just the broad overview? I really want to know. Okay, here's what I remember from cosmetology school. The chemicals we're using are designed to penetrate the outer protective layer of your hair called the cuticle. It's the only protection your hair has. After that, we reach the cortex and medulla, which actually gives your hair its color. In your case, we've mixed up a batch of chemicals to break through all that protection and target the inner layers. When we're done, your hair will have no pigment of its own. Modern chemistry at work. Laughter. This process has a side effect. Your hair becomes softer and much more porous. With no color left, it'll be a dream for any stylist. Laughter. So, what color is it? My girlfriend interrupted. Shut up. No more questions. We're still not sure, we're not even at that point yet. I sat back in the chair, waiting. It didn't take long before the sink was brought back around, and my hair was double washed and rinsed again. Okay girls, let's go, one final decision to make. They walked away, leaving me with my head still in the sink. My arms were restrained to the chair, and my ankles and thighs began to throb from the pressure and the time elapsed. I could only make out parts of the conversation. Too dark. Too light. Not right. Oh, he does like pink. Laughter. That would be fun, but we can't do that to him. Okay, girls, do we agree? Yes. Yes. A few moments later, they returned. I felt something cold being massaged into my hair. This is a toner, she explained. It fixes the final color and smooths down the cuticle that was damaged in the earlier process. It only needs to stay on for about 5 minutes. But this step had a much stronger smell than the previous ones. My head began to itch terribly, almost unbearably. I was glad it was only for 5 minutes. Once the time passed, I was double washed again, and then the process continued. I'm going to apply a deep conditioner. After everything your hair has been through, it could use all the help it can get. A soothing, creamy lotion was applied to my head. It felt and smelled minty. I didn't care. After everything, it felt amazing. Just relax for a few minutes. And then, that whisper again. So, you just don't understand. Don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.